Welcome back to a new Taekook story. Warning: there is going to be some trigger topic like disorders of harm, age, regression, and big bottom characters. So I hope you will not mind it. And if you are triggered with this, please don't read it. Okay. Taehyung was neither happy nor unhappy, if he could actually put it into words what life felt like to him. He would say unamazing. It wasn't terrible, but there wasn't anything amazing happening either. He was just living it because he was alive. Nothing drove him to make something out of himself. Maybe that's why his parents' only default expression while looking at him or talking to him was of disappointment, or at times disgust. Are parents allowed to be disgust of their own child? Maybe the blame lies with him. If only they wasn't like this, things may have been quite different. At the age of 25, Taehyung was still logging at home, doing absolutely nothing other than wasting his time. He had somehow completed his schooling and graduation but couldn't get a job anywhere. With his parents' help, he had joined his dad's company but couldn't survive there for even a month. They made a mess of everything, and before he could embarrass his parents further, they decided to keep Taehyung at home, claiming he was working on his abilities, artistic abilities. What those abilities may be, you might wonder. A writer was what his parents went with, since they used to keep journal when he was young, and seems most one given the circumstances. They even hired someone to write a book and got it published under Taehyung's name, boosting it with marketing influence to the bestseller list. The same was all Taehyung felt when people complimented with his writing skills or smiled at him, thinking he is a great writer, but in reality there was no one. And empathy sale his student days were the most worst. He was so at that returning things. Teachers and students were all fed up with Taehyung, but no one believed him because of his family name. As if that wasn't worse, he had age regression disorder. He would revert to his in the younger mindset. They would often get moody or throw temper tantrums. He couldn't get psychologist treatment because his parents didn't want the world to know about his disorder. This prevented them from even getting into a romantic relationship with anyone. Like heck, anyone would want to date someone like him. Forget about dating. He didn't even have friends to begin with. Some people did become his friends just for sake of gaining favor from his family, but quickly realized there was too much trouble. He had been alone for as long as they could remember, and to be honest, it wasn't that bad. Solitude didn't scare him like it used to. He preferred it more than anything else. Being surrounded by people was suffocating for Tae. Looking at them or talking to them made him anxious. Even going to a store to buy something wasn't easy for him. He could feel everyone's eyes on him, and it felt like they were judging and mocking him. They hardly went out, since most of things he needed the helpers get them for him. He stayed inside the room, just staring at the walls or sleeping. There were days when he didn't utter a single word. His parents didn't include his included in conversation with him either. In fact, they avoid Tae as much as they could. If they didn't see him enough, they could pretend he didn't exist. They wished he didn't exist. He had thought of killing himself, but was too much of a coward to actually do it. Taehyung came downstairs. We need to talk. His mother called him. They went to living room where his parents were sitting with sullen expression. Yes. His father placed a photo on the table of a young man. This is Jungkook, son of our business associate. You will be marrying him. Taehyung was shocked. What? Are you a thief too? His father scoffed. They said timidly, but I'm not. Did I ask you? Your wedding Does he know about my condition? They asked. No, he better not keep it a secret. But how will he is if he finds out and divorces you? I will kill you. His father said, if that happens, you kill yourself. Don't come here. Back here, his mother added. Be a good boy and marry him quietly. Don't create a fuss unless you want to be homeless. His father threatened him. Taehyung agreed reluctantly. Okay, it's not like he had a choice. That's how marriage between Jian and Kim was fixed. When they had wedding in 20 days, Taehyung couldn't help but happily he wasn't ready to marry anyone, and on top of that, a guy he wasn't had he had never been in a romantic relationship to actually know his sexual orientation. Love had been an exclusive concept for him. He didn't even get parental love, so how could he even hope for someone else to love him? They had never even thought of having a husband or wife for that matter. Whoever this guy was, he was going to be pissed off when he will realize he had married a mentally sick person. Would he do if Jungkook wanted to divorce him? It was unfair for Jungkook since he doesn't know what he was getting himself into. No way Jungkook actually accept Taehyung for who he is. His own parents didn't, so why would a stranger? No, it was going to be nothing but disaster. He didn't even know the guy and he had to spend rest of his life with him. How would they survive there? He didn't do well with strangers. It triggered his condition and Jungkook was definitely going to find out. It's not like they could control it, and when Jungkook will find out, he would definitely leave him. That then what would they do? Where would he go? It's not like he could survive on his own. That's how helpless he is. They needed someone to support him financially. His future looked doomed and there was nothing they could do. Jungkook was having a pleasant evening with his boyfriend when he got a call from his mother asking him to rush home. I need to go, Jimin. So soon, my mom called and you couldn't refuse. It must be something important. Oh, come on. We met after so many days and you are already leaving. I'm sorry, love. I will make it up to you. Fine, Jimin said. Sulkily, Jungkook reached his home and entered the living room from where his parents were sitting, talking immediately about something. Mom, Jungkook came sit down. We have something important to discuss. What it is, Mom? I was with Jimin. His father said, you are getting married. Forget about Jimin. What? Don't shout, Jungkook. What the heck are you guys talking about? Language, Jungkook. His mother admonished. Like heck I care. You will be marrying our business associate son, Kim Taehyung. Why? Fear of merging of our business with I don't care about your business. I'm not marrying him. You are. And that's the end of discussion. You don't get to decide that. It's my freaking life, Dad. Oh, really? What's the name of that you are dating? Jimin? Jimin. Do you want him to be kicked out of his college? Don't mess with him, Dad. Jungkook said, I wouldn't if you do. As I say, his father said, I can't marry a stranger. Why not? It's good for business, I do. Your wedding is next month. Break up with your boyfriend immediately. Jungkook went to his room and locked the door. He started throwing stuff, screaming in frustration. He absolutely hated his parents. They treated him like a kid whom they could control however they wanted. He had just started dating Jimin 3 months ago and liked him a lot. He wasn't ready to settle down with someone he didn't even know. He needed to find a way out of this. If Taehyung refused to marry him, then Jungkook could get out of this. He searched about Kim's and got the office number. He talked to Taehyung's father, asking him to arrange a meeting with their son so they could get to know each other better. Next day, Taehyung called him regarding their meeting at Cha Cafe. In evening, Jungkook could still feel his heart racing because of Taehyung's voice. It was so soft and sweet, like a honeyed whisper. At first, he had been too dumbstruck to respond, making a fool of himself. They had fixed the meeting time and Jungkook was sitting in the cafe waiting for Taehyung to arrive. He realized he didn't even know what the guy looked like, and that's when Kim Taehyung walked into the cafe and quickly spotted Jungkook sitting at the back and made his way towards him timidly. Jungkook was awestruck when a adorable man came and sat down in front of him. He looked too young to marry anyone, so the first sentence came out of Jungkook's mouth was, How old are you? Taehyung was startled because Jungkook's voice was really deep and the question wasn't something he had expected. 25? That surprised Jungkook even more. You're 25 years old? Yeah. Jungkook couldn't take his eyes off the boy, or man to be precise, sitting across the table. He had always considered men to be handsome, hot, but never he had Cook thought he would actually refer to another man as cute and adorable. Taehyung was epitome of cuteness. He resisted to the urge to reach out and squeeze his cheeks. Jungkook decided to focus on the matter he is here for. I'm sure you aren't happy with the marriage either. Taehyung wasn't sure how to answer that. He hated the idea but couldn't say so. Jungkook continued, so just reject it. What? Tell your parents you don't want to marry me. Why? They asked. Because I don't want to get married. Then why don't you reject the marriage? Taehyung asked in soft tone. I can't due to some reason, so you should. I can't. Look, I am sorry if it sounds like a suggestion to you. Not requesting you, I'm ordering you to do so, Jungkook said angrily. He was quite losing his patience. But do you actually want to get married to me? We are strangers, or is it because of money? But it's not like you are poor or something. Jungkook get frustrated. I'm sorry, they obliged. I don't need your apologies. Just say no to your parents, that's all. Trust me, you don't want to get married to me. I will make it living heck for you. Jungkook threatened poor Taehyung was scared as heck. Jungkook looked menacing. enough for Taehyung to know he will keep his words, but Taehyung couldn't agree to this either. He had absolutely no choice in this giving situation. His parents would kill him if they tried to say no to the wedding, but right now he was more scared of Jungkook, so Taehyung nodded his head in fear. Good. Sorry for being harsh. It's just that I already have a boyfriend and I love him a lot, so I can't get married to anyone else. You are quite adorable, I'm sure. Surprised at the sudden change in his demeanor. It's okay now that is his problem was solved. Jungkook was calm and regretting being harsh towards Taehyung. I'm really sorry for threatening you like that. If I could reject this marriage, I would have. Trust me. Jungkook Taehyung wanted to correct his mistake and tell Jungkook that he couldn't do what Jungkook wanted, but they just kept his mouth shut. He didn't want to angry Jungkook again. Damn guy seems to have anger issues. They drank their coffee in silence and parted ways. Thing was nervous, heck, and entire ride home. For a second, he contemplated doing what Jungkook had said, but quickly abandoned the idea. He will just deal with Jungkook when the time will come. How worse could Jungkook be? Not more than his parents, for sure. Jungkook was particularly glowing with happiness, which Jimin giggles. Jungkook has been stressed for past few days, so Jimin was happy to see him relax. He loved to eat when Jungkook is in good mood, which Jungkook was most of the time, and when he get angry, it wasn't pretty sight. Jimin would admit it. His boyfriend had anger issues, though he had never harmed Jimin in any way. It still was distressing to deal with the mood swings when Jungkook get angry. Despite all that, Jimin liked Jungkook a lot. He was Jimin's first boyfriend and he could believe that they were actually dating. Jimin was from a middle class family and dating a millionaire had been on his list. In fact, he had been dreaming of settling with the guy in his overlego. It may sound like a fairy tale to date a hair of million dollar company, but in reality it was stressful and intimidating. When he met Jungkook for the first time, Jimin just admired him as you would admire a celebrity, someone completely out of your reach. He was astonished when Jungkook started showing interest in him. It made Jimin fluttered and suspicious. Though Jimin was beautiful by every standard and had a kind heart to match with his sweet look of age, he was especially hard for him in his eyes. He wasn't worth much. Jimin couldn't understand why would everyone give even give him second glance when Jungkook asked him what out for first time. Jimin rejected him. He was scared of the guy who had everything he could ever want, being interested in someone like him who could hardly afford to drink a cup of coffee in the same restaurant Jungkook could eat daily. Jimin was a bit romantic at heart. He wanted a sweet love story with a person he could spend rest of his life. He wasn't into one night stand or other. To him, Jungkook proposal meant their initial dating days were a bit were um, were hard to go through because they really belong to different worlds. Jungkook didn't think twice before buying him someone ridiculously expensive or reserving seats at some at most expensive restaurant. Jimin knew Jungkook wasn't flaunting his money. That's how he has always been, and he was doing it all for him. But when you calculate every penny you spend, it's hard to swell such expensive dishes and wine. Of course, Jimin loves luxury and branded stuff. Who doesn't? But he was used to just learning from them from far, and to middle class people that's more than enough when you have bills to pay. Yet they managed to make It's been 3 months they started dating and things couldn't be better than this. Jungkook was quite busy with handling his family company, but still he made time for Jimin whenever he could, and Jimin appreciated how attentive Jungkook was towards him. They didn't have an age gap, 7 years, but it never felt like they weren't on the same page, baby. You just order for me too. It never felt like they weren't on the same page. Baby, you just order for me. I will take this call. Jungkook went out to take the call. Jimin ordered the food and was waiting for Jungkook to come back. Jungkook came back in rush and mumbled an apology. Jimin, I need to go. What? Why, Jimin? But why? Jimin asked worried. It's important, Jungkook said. But what happened? It's something to do with company. I need to be there. Sorry, baby. Jungkook said in rush. It's okay, don't apologize. Drive safely. You enjoy the food. I will call you later. With that, Jungkook rushed out of his car. It would be alive, Jimin said. It didn't hurt but when Jungkook rushed out like that, but he wasn't angry at Jungkook either. He understood that he had work to do. Must be something important for Jungkook to cut short their date like this. Jimin felt awkward eating alone, but he couldn't waste the food either. Since Jungkook had already paid for it, he was wondering if they could pack it for him to take home because he couldn't finish two people's food. Stood up hastily, Jimin collided with the waiter coming from behind him, making the guy drop on the tray full of food on the floor, breaking the plates in the process. There was dead silence in the restaurant after such incident. The manager quickly came to their table and apologized to Jimin, even though it should be him apologizing. He knew the respect and fear was all because of Jimin came here with Jungkook. The manager was harshly reprimanding the waiter, even though Jimin tried to explain it was his fault. The poor guy was fired on the spot, and Jimin felt so bad and remorseful. He once again tried to tell the manager what had really happened, but the guy had already made up his mind to fire the waiter. Jimin left the restaurant immediately. He could sit and eat after that. Jimin was waiting outside to apologize to the waiter, but when the guy came out, he didn't even spare a glance at Jimin. Jimin stopped him. Excuse me, to be continued. Hey everyone, don't forget to give your feedback about this story and what do you feel about this, how is going on. Hope you will like it. Comment it down whatever you feel about it. I will see you again. Bye bye.